Welcome back, Weather Reconnaissance Team, to another weekly Weather Recon briefing. I'm your host, Russ Parsons, and I'm thrilled to be here with you once again today, Monday, August 18th, 2025, bringing you the latest on what Mother Nature has in store for us. We're coming to you live from Parsons, Kansas once again, where it's a nice and toasty outside, 96 degrees. I believe we had a 103-degree heat index today, which makes for a very warm day. I believe that's what we got up to yesterday here in Parsons. Let's kick things off by reviewing some of the significant weather events from the past 7 days. Get switched over to that screen here, and we'll get going with the presentation. Monday, August 11th, we had some severe thunderstorms. They were actually forecasted for the central and southern plains, with the emphasis on the central plains for the highest risk of severe weather. On Wednesday, the 13th, there's a slight risk of severe thunderstorms, including potential for severe wind gusts and isolated large hail, and that was present across parts of the South Dakota and north central Nebraska areas. On Thursday, August the 14th, there were severe thunderstorms that was capable of producing large hail up to 2 inches and wind gusts up to 75 miles an hour. And that was in the Red River Valley down in the northern Texas area. On Saturday, there was some severe weather, including strong winds and hail that continued to be a threat in the Dakotas and parts of Minnesota. A reported wind gust of about 79 miles per hour was recorded in southeastern South Dakota. In summary, the last 7 days, the week was marked by multiple rounds of thunderstorms and a persistent risk of severe weather across the plain states, particularly in the northern and central plains. The primary threats were actually damaging winds and large hail, accompanied by heavy rain, which led to localized flooding. As you can see here on the map, it's a little bit different this go around. I had some troubles actually getting access to the map that I normally use. We'll try to get back to the other map next week, but several high wind reports, severe wind reports in South Dakota, northern Nebraska, and then down here in the Texas Panhandle in the Red River Valley. Several reports of wind damage. And I believe the pink icons here on the map are hail icons. Severe hail is in the pink. And then the little rain cloud here, the blue, is just heavy rain and flooding in those areas. It looks like they had a lot of wind reports with some derecho-type storms that traveled pretty much from west to east across South Dakota. Was the main state that was affected. I believe that was towards the middle to the end of this last week. Also some hot weather here in northwestern Kansas. I believe they got up to 106 or 107 degrees in the middle of this past week. So the heat was also a big thing again last week. And we'll see going into the forecast coming up here whether that's going to continue or not. We'll move on into the Monday through Friday of this week's hazards outlook. Once again, kind of like last week, not a lot of hazards going on in the plain states of the United States. They are calling for some heavy rains down here in eastern Texas and southeastern Oklahoma, and some hazardous heat once again in the very southern portion of Texas. That'll be from the 18th today through midweek towards the end of the week. This particular week, almost Monday through Friday, looks like be some pretty warm temperatures again down here in southern Texas. The surface analysis for 7 p.m. this evening. This is the forecast for 7 p.m. this evening. Looks like we've got some chances of some severe weather up here in Nebraska, northwestern Kansas, and also South Dakota. Be along this front up here as it sags to the south, and mainly pop-up rain chances and all the way from Texas all the way up to North Dakota in the Plain States this evening. Severe weather outlook for today. They do have a slight risk of severe storms in Nebraska, northwestern Kansas, and back up into South Dakota and the western areas of those three states there, with a marginal risk surrounding the slight risk here in the darker green colors. Mainly wind and large hail threat today. The surface analysis forecast map for Tuesday, 7 p.m. As you see, this front goes all the way from Montana, Wyoming, Colorado, and then it goes from west to east across Kansas and then in Missouri, into Missouri areas. That will be a focus of some thunderstorms here in Kansas starting tomorrow. We'll take a look at those forecasts here in a little bit. This will also be the front that will give us a pretty darn good cool down by the end of this week. We'll have another front that's approaching from Canada that will give us another cooler shot behind this. And we'll look at that forecast here in a little bit. As you can see off I believe Puerto Rico's down here, Dominican Republic, and Cuba. This is Cuba down here. This is Hurricane Aaron. We will look at Hurricane Aaron and what it's going to do towards the middle to the end of this week here in just a little bit. Tomorrow, Tuesday's severe weather outlook. Along the front, there will be a marginal risk of severe storms across Oklahoma, northern Oklahoma, and southern Kansas. And I did look into that a little bit further too. That is going to be mainly a high wind, severe wind risk tomorrow afternoon and into the overnight hours. Wednesday's 7 p.m. forecast shows the cold front all making its way down here to southern Oklahoma with the corresponding rain chances moving a little bit further south into Oklahoma and Texas. They will get some rain in Texas, believe it or not. They've been drying out and pretty warm, so maybe they'll cool off too a little bit towards the end of the week. There is just a general risk of just general thunderstorms in the light green area. So just some rumbles of thunder here, pretty much from north to south, up and down through the plains. There'll be some type of a risk of some non-severe weather in those areas, in the green areas. The surface analysis for 7 a.m. Thursday, it shows the front sagging a little bit further into Texas down here. Central towards the southern edge of Texas will have some pretty likely chances of rain. And I know they've been talking about some possibilities, some flooding down there. So that's something you may want to keep an eye on towards the middle to end of this week in Texas with some pretty heavy rainfall that's forecasted down there. Hurricane Aaron continues off the east coast of the United States, and we'll show you the map here of that here in a little bit. Friday's 7 a.m. surface analysis map. This was the front that was up in Canada at the beginning of the week. Today on Monday, it will start sagging further south here, and this behind this front is where the much cooler air is, and that will make it all the way down into Oklahoma by the weekend with about a 10-degree temperature drop from today's temperatures to about Saturday's temperatures in the Central Plains. So we're going to see some cooler weather coming up this next weekend. We'll get into that here in just a little bit. Saturday surface analysis forecast, 7 a.m. map shows the front dropping all the way down into Oklahoma. The cooler air will be affecting Kansas by this time period here on Saturday. So looks like it's going to be a really good weekend to get out and actually do something outdoors this weekend. Cooler temperatures, no chances of rain by that time period here in Kansas area, and just all around good forecast coming up for this next weekend. Sunday surface analysis at 7 a.m. is pretty much more of the same. The cooler air, I'm not going to say cold air, but it's cooler air, will drop a little bit further south here and almost make it into northern Texas by the Sunday time frame, with some chances of rain here in southeastern Texas. That continues down there. And a little bit of chances of rain probably here in Nebraska come Sunday. San Antonio's forecast, they're definitely going to be a hot one for today and the next couple of days, it looks like, with some chances of rain down there. Something we really haven't seen down in that area for quite some time. But anywhere from, looks like their biggest chances of rain will be about Thursday, Friday time frame. 60% chance Thursday, 50% Friday, and then some chances over the weekend. But their temperatures drop from a high of 101 today down to about 92 on Saturday. So it's also about a 10-degree temperature drop for San Antonio coming up. Oklahoma City 7-day forecast. Looks like they'll be about at 98 degrees tomorrow for a high this week. And get down to about 91 on Sunday. So not too shabby for this time of year. Doesn't look too bad at all. They've got a few chances of rain with the first front that comes through. Looks like the biggest chance will be on Wednesday, 40% chance on Wednesday during the day there in Oklahoma City. Well, hello, lightning storm kitty. Right here in front of my screen. And head bopping the microphone. This is Wichita, Kansas forecast for this upcoming week. Pretty much the same chances of rain. Theirs is going to be on a Tuesday, Wednesday time frame instead of a Wednesday, Thursday time frame in Wichita. And looks like they will be a high of 95 again tomorrow and down to 81 degrees for a high. Lightning. Something, you just did something. Dadgum, you're hiding. Go. Okay. Figured out what button she pushed. Okay. Lightning, you're a mess. But yeah, a high of 81 in Wichita on Sunday. So like I said, get out there and enjoy this upcoming weekend here in Kansas. Parsons, Kansas, we've seen a high today of 96 degrees. And it's supposed to get up to about that temperature again tomorrow. Our biggest chances of rain here in Parsons will be tomorrow night. Oh, man, Lightning, you're a mess. And looks like we'll see a high of 84 on Sunday. So we're going to go to about a high of 96 here the last couple days, down to 84 degrees by Sunday. Looks like our low will get down to about 65 Sunday night. Lincoln, Nebraska in the next 7 days in Lincoln. Looks like they're only going to get to about 93 today with their chances of rain coming today and then into tomorrow. They will have some slight chances of rain starting Friday night into Sunday, it looks like, again there in Lincoln. And they're going to have a high of only 78 degrees this upcoming Sunday. So hopefully it won't be too big of a washout in Nebraska over the weekend, so you can actually get out and enjoy these cooler temperatures coming up. Pierre, South Dakota's next 7-day forecast here. Supposed to get up to about 99 on Thursday. Lightning. Not for you to rub up against. Come here, hide. You're a mess today. And then looks like Pierre is supposed to get down to about 78 degrees on Sunday. So they're going to cool down in South Dakota also coming up. With their chances of rain coming Thursday night into Friday throughout the day. Just a 30% Thursday night and a 20% during the day and night on Friday. Minot, North Dakota, their chances of rain are today with a high of 87 today. Looks like they'll get up to about 95 on Wednesday. And looks like they'll have a high of about 72 on Saturday and Sunday, with a low of a very cool 47 degrees overnight Sunday night into Monday morning of this next week. So North Dakota, cool once again. The map here shows the forecast for the next 7 days of total rainfall during the 18th to the 25th time period of August. The heaviest rain looks like it's going to fall in central Kansas and the Oklahoma Panhandle areas. This will be during the first front. I believe they've got some ongoing storms this evening too, so that will count in those totals this evening as those storms kind of move off across northern Oklahoma this evening. But anywhere up to about 1 3/4 inches to 2 inches is predicted in central Kansas and the Oklahoma Panhandles over the next 7 days. This map shows the Atlantic tropical weather outlook. This was today's map. We do have Hurricane Aaron here. It is considered a major hurricane at this moment. I believe it's a Category 4 hurricane. And the next map I'll show you will actually show us the track that it is predicted to take through this next Saturday. Right now, it's down here. Bahamas are right here in the yellow outlined areas. These are some more of the islands here north of Haiti and the Dominican Republic. The main wind field around the hurricane strength winds are going to be the darker oranges here at the X marking. This was as of 2 p.m. today on Monday. The way they're talking is expected to produce life-threatening surf and rip currents along the beaches of the Bahamas and much of the east coast of the United States. And that's really, and possibly some flooding in the North Carolina Outer Banks areas beginning late Wednesday. And you might see a little bit of a storm surge, tropical storm and storm surge watch may be required for the Outer Banks of the North Carolina area here. That'll come through Wednesday night and into Thursday morning area time frame. But as you see the track, it is predicted that it will not come ashore. It will not come ashore to the United States. It's going to make a hard right turn on Thursday and then move back out to the Atlantic Ocean by Saturday. The M stands for that it's a major hurricane, and then it looks like the wind will probably drop a little bit Thursday morning as it moves back on out to the Atlantic Ocean. So it's predicted not to hit the mainland of the United States at this time, which is a good thing. Yeah, it's a very good thing actually. This is predicted to go back out into the Atlantic Ocean and not affect the mainland of the United States at this time. This here was this afternoon's satellite image in motion of Hurricane Aaron. As you see, this is the Dominican Republic down here in this area, and Haiti here. Bahamas are up here, or Bermuda, I'm sorry, is up here, and this is the Bahama Islands here, and Florida, and then this will be the outer banks of the North Carolina area, where it will have some rip currents and possible flooding. So we may see a little bit of flooding and some rip currents in those areas over the next several days. Good news is that the Eastern Pacific Tropical Outlook. Oh boy, my mom's active today. Got a driveway sensor at her house that tells me when somebody's going in and out of her driveway, and she's active, I guess. But anyway, the Eastern Pacific today, they're predicting that over the next 7 days that they won't have any type of tropical systems in the Eastern Pacific area over the next week. At this point, we are going to go beyond the forecast once again. And I want to, we're actually going to take a deeper dive into a weather topic once again. And today's topic is how to properly use the National Hurricane Center's track forecast cone. And what I mean by the track forecast cone is the map that I showed you of Hurricane Aaron a while ago. And that cone, and that's what they call the track forecast cone. It looks like a cone on the map. And I'm going to play this short video. It's about 2.5, 3 minutes long. But I want you to sit here and watch this. And they're going to explain to you on how the track forecast cone should actually be used and how it should not be used.
Hi, I'm John Cangelosi.
And I'm Robbie Burr, and we're hurricane specialists at NOAA's National Hurricane Center in Miami, Florida.
Let's say a hurricane is threatening your city. What's the first picture your TV meteorologist might put on the screen? It's probably a hurricane cone showing where the storm may go. Some people affectionately call it the cone of concern, or even the cone of death.
But all kidding aside, the National Hurricane Center creates a cone to communicate the possibilities of where the storm may go. And even though this graphic is very popular, we've also found that it is often misunderstood and used in ways that it was never meant for. So let's take a look at the forecast cone and what it is intended to convey.
Here is an example of the NHC forecast cone. The cone represents the probable track of just the center of the storm. Let's repeat that, just the center. We draw the cone based on how good or bad our forecasts have been over the past 5 years. The center of the storm ends up staying inside the cone for roughly 2 out of every 3 of our forecasts. This also means that the center of the storm will sometimes move outside of the cone, occurring once out of every 3 of our forecasts.
With the knowledge of how it's designed, let's take a look at the do's and don'ts when using the NHC forecast cone. But let's start with the don'ts. Hazards associated with a storm usually extend beyond the edge of the cone, so don't use the cone to assess your risk of strong winds, storm surge, heavy rainfall, or tornadoes. And since we prepare for a storm or evacuate based on these hazards, don't use the cone to determine if you should evacuate or how you should prepare. For that type of information, be sure to listen to your local emergency management agency.
Now, what should you use the cone for? I use the cone to get a rough idea where the center of the tropical cyclone is likely to go. But I then look at other forecast graphics to get more specific information about strong winds, storm surge, rainfall, and tornadoes. You can look at the forecast cone to see how big the storm is at the moment and where coastal wind watches and warnings are currently in effect.
The forecast cone can be a useful tool when you're monitoring the progress of a hurricane. But it's important to keep in mind what you should and should not use it for. probably the most important point is that a hurricane is not a point. Impacts from the storm often occur well outside of the cone, and it's a good idea to consult other forecast graphics when preparing before a storm. These graphics can be accessed by clicking on the appropriate thumbnail within the storm window box on the front page of the National Hurricane Center website.
We hope that the next time you see the National Hurricane Center forecast cone, you have a better understanding of what it truly means. For the latest information on tropical weather, please visit hurricanes.gov. And you can also follow us on the social media platforms listed here.
Thanks for watching. Remember, it only takes one, so be safe by being prepared for hurricane season.
Yeah, I kind of thought that was an interesting little video. Just remember, individuals should consult your official forecasts, hazard risk communications, and local authorities to assess their specific risk and determine necessary preparedness actions for hurricanes. That pretty much wraps up this week's weekly Recon. Let's go to the next slide here. You can always stay up to date by following us on YouTube here at Russ's Weather Recon and Facebook at Russ Weather Recon for additional resources and detailed forecasts. Make sure that you like and subscribe to today's video, and subscribe to my YouTube page, and make sure you hit the little notification bell so you're notified when I do go live next time on YouTube. Get the word out there. I'm really enjoying doing this video and doing some live stuff, and hopefully educate everybody about the weather, which is my main goal. Make sure you join me next week for another reconnaissance mission into the atmosphere. Until then, stay safe, stay informed, and enjoy the weather, whatever it may be.